to my beloved and adorable Stan. Weren't we blessed to have 55 years of marriage in a loving, happy relationship filled with lots of hard work, but also many friends, extensive international travel, and just plain fun? All of this came about because your stepmother's friend in 1955 didn't know a Ford from a Chevrolet. When you didn't meet her as planned, we went to find her in Bedford Village. You stopped at the law office where I worked weekends, so we really met quite accidentally. I still remember what you were wearing. I was smitten immediately. Over a year after we became engaged, I asked you when we were going to get married. I was stunned when you said we had to build a house first. You told everyone that it took me a whole day to find a lot. Not true, but it made a good story. Your sense of humor was both unpredictable and delicious, and it lasted throughout your entire life. Your war stories were fascinating. You talked of fighting Rommel in North Africa, but you experienced great joy in your special relationship with Salvatore, an Italian boy who was badly burned when the Germans occupied Grumo Navano, a small town north of Naples. You helped him get medical treatment. You had special boots made for him from the leather motorcycle saddlebags, and you even had a uniform custom made for him. On his chest was a notation that he was number 2 big-time operator, while you, of course, were number 1. You did so much for the community that you were frequently invited for dinner when a fine bottle of wine was being opened. We revisited Grumo Navano in 1968, and you were ecstatic when you were recognized in the mayor's office, and we were able to visit a couple with whom you became friendly during the war. You had a chance to talk with Salvatore's brother as he was out of town. When we visited South Korea some years ago, several elderly gentlemen came up and approached us to thank you for fighting against North Korea. We were surprised they knew. You were a creative builder and tinkerer at heart. You always had projects in the works. We know that. We were never wealthy, but you helped create one of the most beautiful pool areas I have ever seen. Behind a retaining wall were azaleas and rhododendrons galore, and all around the canopy were baskets of flowers. We loved spending treasured hours with our friends, several of whom we invited for dinner every Sunday during pool season. You loved your work, creating, enlarging, or cleaning lakes and ponds. You were even mentioned in the New York Times as the specialist in northern Westchester County. You were also highly regarded by the county agent supervising such projects. Throughout the years, you had many serious health problems, but we fought them together. You had enormous physical strength and determination to live. You survived until the age of 93 and a half. You accepted and liked everyone just the way they were. You were the most non-judgmental person I have ever known. I treasure every moment we had together. You made me feel loved, protected, and safe. The human race was lucky to have you as a member for 93 years, and I was incredibly blessed to have you as the shining star in my life for nearly 60 years. I will love you forever, Jane. So if any of you would like to add a few words, that would be fine. Otherwise, I have a few closing remarks.
I just wanted to say that Stan was a peach. Yes, we all know that. And a World War II and Korea conflict hero. He was my hero, and I'm proud to call him my friend.
Sure. You have something to say?
My mother was a friend of the Lewises through Jane's work. And they frequently had us over to their house here in Katonah throughout my childhood. This started when I was a toddler. And I referred to the Lewises as Aunt Jane and Uncle Stan, terms of endearment that truly describe their caring relationship. While Stan never had children, I have no doubt that he would have made an exceptional father. Um, he was soft-spoken, very caring, and a thoughtful man. My parents divorced when I was approximately 3, and my father moved a considerable distance away. Stan recognized the difficulties I was having adjusting to this change, and would always provide support when it was needed. He made me feel special and helped me to feel loved. Some of my fondest childhood memories were of times that were spent with Stan. One of my earliest memories was a trip with him to one of his construction sites. And you can imagine the thrill of a 4-year-old climbing on the giant excavator that was used for his work. For me, this was exhilarating. While most children only got to see these large machines on television or from a distance, Stan made the time to show me how the powerful mountain mover actually worked, sitting in the cab with him as it roared to life and watching the monstrous mechanical arm grab small boulders and move dirt. It just fired my imagination. And every time I returned to my Tonka truck after that experience, it was with a heightened sense of excitement. He contributed to my early love of machines. This early love of machines was not confined to my experiences at his work site. At his home in Katonah, Stan allowed me to sit with him as we rode around the yard on his lawn tractor. He always wore his exotic straw hat that he acquired in his travels in Asia. This furthered my appreciation of heavy equipment. Stan was a great storyteller. He and Jane captivated my imagination with their tales of travels to exotic lands such as Afghanistan and India. I enjoyed sitting in the downstairs of their home as they shared these adventures. Their beautiful slideshows and exotic items acquired in their travels helped me to gain a greater appreciation of the diversity of this world. Stan always made me feel that he genuinely was interested in my progress in life. One of my fondest memories was of a doorway in Stan and Jane's house. When I would visit, Stan would take a pencil and mark my height on the board on the wall. This simple act always made me feel special and is a tradition I carry on with our daughter. Stan was a gentle, thoughtful, and caring man, and I cherish these memories and will always be thankful to him for his exceptional kindness.
Very nice. Anyone else want to say?
Well, I'd just like to add, whatever you said, Ed, is exactly how I remember Stan.
Yeah.
Jane and Stan were the first American families I met when I moved to Westchester from Buffalo. I remember Stan picked me up from the Katonah railway station took me to his home and met Jane there. And Stan, throughout his life, helped me, just like you said, with all of the mechanical things that I ever had needed to do. He was the one who taught me about a lot of things about the tools and how to use them. And I was always amazed at the projects he was working on, and he was an inspiration for me too. He was a gentleman, the most gentle person I've ever met, and missed him a lot.
Well, when I've been talking with Jane, she has told me this story, and she said, well, I don't know whether or not you ought to say that at the burial, but I know she'd like me to. So I'm going to tell you this about Jane. It's an account of what she told me when Stan died. She had received a call from the nursing home where Stan was at 3 a.m. to notify her that Stan had died. When she arrived 2 hours later, she went to see Stan, and as she always had done on her every visit to see him, she went to see him every single day when he was in the nursing home. And she always slipped her hand under the blanket, and when he had died, she followed that. She slipped her hand under the blanket when she was notified that he had died, to touch him and to hold his hand. She was so surprised, and she said to the hospice nurse, his hands are warm and inviting. And the hospice nurse said, he was just waiting for you. So if there's nothing else anyone wants to say, I'd like to just end with a little prayer. This is a Native American prayer that I thought was kind of nice. I give you this one thought to keep. I am with you still, I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sunlight on ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken in the morning's hush, I am the swift, uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not think of me as gone. I am with you still in each new dawn. And I guess that's it. I know Jane is very appreciative of you all coming. It's really very nice.
Oh, it's nice that we had a chance to do this. I mean,
It is. I'm glad Stan's home, and I know
Yeah.
Jane is.
Yes.
yeah. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
So with this Mr. Stanley Lewis has now been concluded, you have all received the rose. As a final parting gesture, you may come up, just lay it on the table, and you may return to your vehicles.
Okay, thank you.
That's very much their sense of humor. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.